What's with all the police everywhere? I'm not supposed to tell. You know the butcher? The freaking nut job that goes around chopping people up? The feds heard that he's gonna be here today. So they set up a trap for him. This whole concert, it's a trap.
One thing I really like about your most recent movies is that you've been finding these different locations. One location, I mean, like old, you had the beach. The last movie, Knock at the Cabin, you had the cabin and the surrounding.
Yeah.
And this one, you have this big stadium.
Yeah.
And it's really been interesting how you've been using these spaces to make this scope, even though it is only a few characters in the spaces. Can you talk about, like, is that something you've been consciously doing while writing?
I do. I'm very drawn to that. Even as you say it, I love that. You know, the kind of giving you a window frame and then everything else you have to imagine that's happening outside that window frame, location-wise, as well as the actual frame. For whatever reason, when you said that, I started to think of Twilight Zones, and maybe as a kid, they did that every single episode, just because of budgetary restrictions, probably, and they made a giant conceit in one place.
And I went back and Signs, The Village, Lady in the Water, they kind of all, and then,
Yeah.
you know, obviously Unbreakable and Sixth Sense, they
A little bit more expensive, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of led me to fund my own movies when I realized this. Because I was like, hey, you know, I kind of make these very contained movies. They're very doable at a lower budget. You know, maybe I should do them myself.
Serial killers is a really interesting topic. People are fascinated by serial killers. You think about them and you go like, oh, they must be insane. And you see a movie like this, and Cooper's pretty crafty, he's smart. They need to be able to make sure they don't get caught. And that's really interesting to me. Is that something which is interesting to you as well? Or?
Very much so. I mean, I think so many people are fascinated by serial killers because they are real-life monsters, you know? Dinosaurs were real-life monsters, and we have contemporary ones, you know, right in your office building. They're right there. And so it's an urban nightmare. And so we're fascinated by how could that be? Because the rest of us are wired in this way of like, if if I stole your car keys, I'd be nervous. And you're like, why are you nervous? And I'm like, nothing. But they don't feel that. And so our wiring is getting fooled by them, our internal wiring, and that's absolutely frightening. He couldn't have done that. I know him. He's a school teacher. He couldn't have possibly done that. That really frightens us because then it feels like, is everything a lie? When I was studying about the profilers that did this, you know, the profile serial killers, they'll go and land in a city, right? And they'll say where a lot of people have been killed by a serial killer, and they'll talk to the law enforcement, and the first thing they say when they talk to them is, the one thing I can tell you all is you've already talked to him. And because they can't resist it, they need the adrenaline rush of being right there and coming. And so for Cooper in this movie, he's caught in his trap, but he kind of loves it.
Speaking of profiler, I got to ask, Haley Mills, how'd you end up on that? That's amazing. I mean, I used to watch her on, you know, World of Disney when I was a kid and did not recognize her, did not know that was her until I checked later.
I love doing unexpected things with casting and trying for you guys to see people in a new light. And for me, the idea of like having a maternal figure hunting him as opposed to another dude chasing him down, that felt interesting and fresh to me, that she was beating him with her understanding of emotions or lack of emotions that these people, the habits they have. And so every time, writing everyone's super smart, so he's super smart, but she's equally smart. And this little gray-haired lady's catching him was, I thought, kind of fun.
I hope people see this and give her more roles, because I love the fact she's working.
So buoyant, so wonderful.
Yeah. When I saw this trailer and I saw Lady Wavin', I was like, oh, that's got to be his daughter.
Yeah.
I did not realize that she wrote like 14 songs for the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she's acting in the movie. Really, she's doing a lot. Is
Yeah.
that like something you guys have? She wanted to act for a long time, or
No.
Oh.
This was just us coming up with this kind of mash of the music industry and the movie industry that's in our house. I was like, you know, this is one of the few households in the world that could bring both of these things together in a really wonderful way. So we talked, Salika, about how to write narratively. Could you write an album with, you know, there's concept albums, you know, and the concept album aimed towards a narrative. And so it was just a kind of an idea. And then I said, well, let me think about it. So let's come up with it. And I was like, ooh, and I was thinking about it for someone else to write and direct. And then we just kept talking about it. And over the years, it became something so exciting that I was like, oh, I'd love to do this.
So while you were writing the screenplay, she was batting around song ideas?
Yeah.
And all songs written specifically for this movie?
Specific, like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Only one was before I wrote it. It was like we had an idea, and then she wrote a song, and I was like, if we do that movie, I want that song as one of them. And then from there, she started to write. Once I had the screenplay, then she started to write, and we kept talking about who this character is.
Also, I mean, the live production is amazing because I mean, she's a musician and a performer. She gets to perform at a stadium with this
Full
huge production.
concert, yeah.
That just must be amazing, a joy.
It was so fun, and it was actually in the way I love to do things. We shot it in order, and we put on the concert, and we did it every day. We did one song, did the next song in the concert, and just kept moving. And then the actors and extras were all reacting very, very organically because they were in a real arena watching a real concert.
Did you actually shoot this in Philly as well? Did you kind of? I thought I heard that you did some in Canada too.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Because I needed someone to give me a 20,000-seat arena for 3 months. So that's a big ask.
I thought Philly loves you so much they would do anything for
Well,
you.
you have to shut down a whole arena for 20. I know. They still, Billie Eilish and Justin Bieber, they all have to come in and still do their concerts. So it's one of those. Originally, I was thinking, could I coexist with a place and maybe shoot during the day and then let them have it for the night for these concerts? So we were trying everything, but then we found this arena that was going to be renovated.
Okay.
And I came and visited them, and it was a beautiful old arena. And I said, "Don't change it. Can you just hold off for 3 months and let me shoot?" But
okay.
they stopped taking concerts because they were going to renovate the whole thing. And then I said, since you don't have anybody coming in, and I just said, just hold the bulldozers for a little bit.
I got to ask about Ishana's movie a little bit because it's
Yeah.
really a great debut feature.
Yeah.
She adapted it herself. She directed. You were producing.
Yeah.
So how do you balance these two movies kind of coming out within months of each other, which is crazy?
Just random that it came out like that. It's just where they all landed in the production schedule and the release schedules. It was intense overlapping the two movies as we were trying to finish both of them. But it was a very exciting year for everybody, but intense. It wasn't meant to fall like that. I think we had between the strikes and this and that. Everything kind of collapsed a bit.
Was your experience with Servant something you'd want to do more TV down the line? Do you think?
It has to be the right project. We've danced about a few ideas. It's so all-consuming doing a television show. At least the way I choose to be involved in it. It's a lot. I have a hard time just kind of supervising from afar. That I really want it to be something that's meaningful to me, and that becomes really exhausting. I mean, the reason I just stopped Servant is it just felt, I don't know how I can give this much time to something. The 4 years felt like a blessing, and thinking about doing it a fifth year, I felt exhausted, and I don't want to necessarily feel that. But I'm looking forward to maybe the right idea and the right opportunity. There's one project I'm thinking about.
Okay, nice. You could always direct someone else's show if you wanted to do an episode.
That's true.
Did you ever do that? Have you done that yet or no?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I've been asked, but I haven't. I haven't yet.
Okay, got it. Someday.
Come closer. What's going on, Daddy?
Open the goddamn door! I can't get away. I can't stop. I'll just do this one last one. Enjoy the rest of the concert.